Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the show. It is me, Chris, and of course, the Jimmy. See, I slowed
What
it down.
is going on? I always wait and see how's he gonna do it. Yeah.
uh, man, Jimmy, you and I are we're kind of pretty screwed for about the next 6, 7 months.
Yeah?
We are screwed.
Oh
Now,
no.
I'll say, everybody has their own definition of screwed. Um, we will be playing golf, so I mean, there's that. Uh,
Okay.
But what we're going to have to endure during that time period is, I don't know how to say this, potentially mind numbing. I guess
Hmm.
I guess is a good way to put it. I got reminded yesterday that only one person shot a deer during hunting
Mm.
season this year.
Oh boy. Yeah, I've been waiting for that to
Uh,
drop for
yeah,
sure.
well, it dropped. It dropped, and we are uh, until next September. It's all we're gonna hear because yes, Megan is the only one who shot a deer. Now, I mean, during this hunting season. So, yes, all hail Megan. You know, the the huntress. She taught me everything I know. Uh,
I think you're okay. I think you can counter pretty quickly with only one of us gutted a deer this year. Uh, so
True.
you're okay. You're
True.
okay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I always fall back. I always fall back on the total career numbers. Like
There you
every
go.
even Hall of Fame quarterbacks have an off season.
Yeah, well, I'm losing in all of these categories, so it's not good. But, I think we both reasonably passed on deer that we were not, willing to shoot this year.
Yeah,
But
I played that argument with her too, and she was like, "Doesn't matter. There's only one dead on the field this year."
yeah, I think we made a mistake by not at least bringing one home just for the sake of argument, right? Or for the sake of this discussion. Yeah, I think you need to refuse to cut them up next time. Oh, this is yours? Okay, gotcha. We'll
Yeah,
see how this goes.
yeah, yeah. Oh, you shot that one, so I guess you're dragging it, gutting it,
Yeah.
loading it in the car. I mean, seems fair.
Seems fair. Yeah.
She does, in
Oh,
all
boy.
honesty, in all fairness, she does, for the most part, drag her own deer.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm ready to endure. I feel like I've been missing Megan. I haven't got any ribbing lately, from her, so I need to, come around. It's been a while, so
Yeah,
that's okay.
she said that's because you're abandoning us.
Feel like it. Yeah. No, it's been crazy with hockey and everything lately.
Yeah.
Stupid busy. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, speaking, good segue. Speaking of crazy,
Lots of crazy.
lots of crazy. So the good, it's good and bad. So of course we're talking about the inauguration yesterday. That
Yay,
took,
we're back, baby.
yeah. Um, and I feel like it's kind of like
Yeah,
it's
Barty.
definitely different. Apparently
We're
they think it's
back.
different too. Um, it's different to me this time because yes, it's craziness because the liberals are actually losing their freaking minds over all these executive orders and the pardons and all that. I mean, I don't know why they would be because it's everything that he said he was going to do before he took office. It's everything he campaigned on.
Well, and before you move on, because you're 100% right, on the complete flip side, they have no leg to stand on because are you kidding me with the pardons? Are
Yeah.
you kidding me with like everything that you said you weren't gonna do is
Yeah.
exactly what you did on your way out the door? Try to, sweep it under the rug or whatever, and just be like, pencil whip this stuff real quick and peace out. Like,
Yeah.
wow. So yeah, I don't want to hear any of that stuff about
Yeah, it's
Trump.
all nonsense, but I think what's interesting is like it's different to me this time because it's not the you haven't heard the he needs to be prosecuted. We need to, we need there's none of that. It's all just blind hysteria over what he's doing, which again is exactly what he said he was going to do for over a year. So I do find that interesting that they have no leg to stand on. So they're just like really. I mean, they're like digging to try to search for. It's so bad that it's a. Oh, did you see the outfit that Melania Trump
Oh
wore
wow.
to the inauguration? I mean, it's gotten down to that level.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is, I think Trump takes so many shots or pushes the envelope on everything he wants to do. So it gives people like a little bit of fodder to pick apart. And did he really need to declare the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, like stuff like that? I mean, I don't know. I feel like some of the stuff goes a little bit too far, or yeah, either jumping on Elon about his hand gesture. I mean, on one hand, like I get the like obvious comparison, but like it's it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you're not taking anything in context. Um, I'll give you it's a little bit weird, but the guy's a little bit weird, and but I have no doubt that he didn't mean anything intentional by it.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, I think these people they all that's all it takes though is like one little blip or whatever you call it, a slip up or what have you, um, and then it gives them that just one thing to run their mouth on and run and cry about. But that's okay. There's plenty of other winning to be had while they're still whining and crying on the side.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's definitely a different version of insanity than we had in his original thing. And I think it's probably because they do realize to some degree that they just have nothing. Like I think they realize this time that they legitimately have nothing that they can actually. I mean, when 70% of the country said they're against this DEI bullshit, when
Hmm.
70% of the country said they're for secure borders, when 70% of the country said, you know, uh, shit's too expensive. I mean, those were your three main platforms in your last election, and 70% of the populace, not 70% of Republicans, 70% of the electorate, which means a lot of Democrats and a lot
Right.
of independents don't see things the way that you morons see things. It's kind of hard to argue, and it's kind of hard to think you have a leg to stand on
There's
for
nothing
most
there.
people.
It all comes down to the irrational fears. The they're gonna start rounding everybody up
Yeah,
and putting them in camps and sending them out of the country, or uh, taking away rights that they have no intention of taking away. Um, all that nonsense. So that's all they have to go on, because like you said, they don't have anything. They saw 4 years of it.
yeah,
Um, None of their worst fears came true, and there's been no real intention or anything said that says that that's what's going to happen.
right.
I get, except for if you're really concerned about keeping illegals in the country,
Yeah.
um, that's going to happen. So sad. If you're that concerned, maybe you should join them.
Yeah, well, exactly. Um, you know, and I just I have this thought in my head that there's a lot of stuff that Trump says and does just because he knows he's trolling.
Yeah, yeah.
And they, but the thing is they bite on it every single time. Like I don't know, like the Gulf of America. Like who gives a shit? Even if he did try to rename it to that,
He
nobody.
did. He officially
Well,
did.
he wrote a proclamation, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean shit.
It
Call it
does,
the
right?
Gulf of Mexico. Who cares? Call it the Gulf of fucking Tonka for all I
I
care.
know, right, right. Well, that's what I'm saying. That just gives them something to scream about. But
But I think
um
he does it on purpose. I think he does it
probably,
just to troll them, and
but
they
they're gonna
bite hook, line, and sinker.
they do because that's where they're saying like, oh, he's gonna use military force to take over Greenland and
Yeah,
Canada and
and the
Panama
Panama
Canal.
Canal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's pretty absurd.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, not really super too much that I wanted to talk about this, but um, we have the next round of uh, uh, political appointees, cabinet members coming up this week. I think I didn't see. I heard that Ratcliffe for CIA
Mhm.
uh, was confirmed today, or is going to
Actually,
be.
I haven't heard anything about confirmations, but I did listen to his hearing.
So
Yeah,
Rubio got confirmed unanimously
okay,
today or yesterday,
gotcha.
um, and Ratcliffe was supposed to be either today or tomorrow to be confirmed by the whole Senate. And then Kristi Noem, they said basically there was only two Democrats that are not going to vote for her, so she's going to be a pretty easy through.
You
Obviously,
said only 2 Democrats are not gonna vote for her?
yeah,
So, it's almost unanimous besides the
yes,
2. Wow.
yeah.
Do
And
they do that because
that's
they
because
yeah,
apparently she was so freaking impressive in her sit down meetings with all the senators, on both sides.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Now that was surprising. I stopped listening to I mean, I have good reason to listen to that, so I listened to her hearing, and it was fine, but I stopped listening halfway through because, yeah, they all said the same thing. They weren't pushing her back on
yeah,
much, and it wasn't much of a back and forth, so I was like, "Okay." I thought they were gonna start jumping on her about trying to find the controversy with her
yeah,
dog or whatever,
yeah, something.
right? I mean, oh, yeah, it's very interesting to me, but maybe she kinda, like, showed them that she'll play ball
Mhm.
and realistically, I don't know. The majority of conservative talking points, not I don't even know, platform, I should maybe platform agenda items, um, are really should be bipartisan items. I mean,
Yeah, they're not
securing the country,
controversial.
it's not a controversial thing. It's locking up the border, locking down the border, whatever. That's not it shouldn't be controversial. So, like, a lot of that stuff really is like we're the goal is the same goal. We just all disagree on what it is. It's making the country safer, making kids safer,
Right.
protecting our children and our youth and our freedoms moving forward. We all agree on that, but they try to frame things differently, so it makes it sound like,
Well,
oh,
and,
you're
and that's what tells you that 99% of the time it has nothing to do with the issue itself. It has to do with the other party came up with it.
well, I was going to ask you because that's nice to hear that that there's not that there, you're going to get a lot of Democratic confirmations, and I honestly don't even know what's really typical,
Mhm.
but
Well,
it
up until about a decade ago, it was almost always unanimous.
yeah
And
okay.
then, the partisanship over the last, 10, 12 years, um, that's where you've had, and it was basically the same with like Supreme Court justices. Like there was almost never a contentious uh, uh, Senate hearing for a Supreme Court justice. And they were all, whether you agreed with them or disagreed with them, they almost all got the votes of everybody because you know, the Senate's job is to advise and consent. Nowhere in that does it say advise and refuse. But because of the hyperpartisanship that's gone on for the last little more than a decade, that's changed. So hopefully this is kind of a sign that they're getting back to a little bit. Now you're going to have, Hegseth has not, there's no indication that they're sending his to the floor for a vote yet.
Yeah, I don't understand how that works. Like, I would assume there would be some standard order. I mean, is it that was depending on the result? Like, I mean, you have the hearing, you should have the hearing, then have the confirmation, or a yay or nay at that time. So it's interesting how that.
Well, that could be strategic. That could be strategic on either side, though, because if the Republicans don't think that they have the votes yet to get him, they're going to hold off until they make whatever deal they need to make with whatever Republican's not going to vote for him.
Gotcha.
So it could be very strategic on, the Republican side as well. If they're unsure, because the one thing you don't want to do as the majority in the Senate is bring something to the floor that you don't have the votes for, or you don't know if you have the votes, because that's embarrassing. It's your caucus. You're in the majority. If you can't even get your own people to vote for something, that's an embarrassment to your party. So it could very well be strategic on their part with Hegseth. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he has the votes on the Republican side locked up. It may just be one of these things where, we're going to put the easy ones through first. We know these people have support on both sides. So even if it's not unanimous, we're going to send it through. So, and keep in mind, there's also only 99 senators right now because Rubio is no longer a senator. And so I think in Hegseth's case, I think they probably think they have the votes, but there may be a Joni Ernst that's very questionable, or a Susan Collins that's very questionable, or what's her name, starts with a name, Murkowski from Alaska, who's very questionable and on the fence on him still, and they haven't shored up, that person's vote, because they can only lose one or two, I think. Actually, two. They got 53. So they can only lose two. And then, of course, you've got, the questions that come up with potentially with Hegseth. And then I'm telling you, the one to watch is going to be Kash Patel. And they haven't even put his committee hearing on the schedule yet. Because that's legitimate. They haven't put him on, and they haven't put RFK on. So
Tulsi is. But they have put Tulsi on.
I think Tulsi is at the end of this week, and Elise Stefanik is this week as well. She might have been today, actually. And there was one other one that they were talking about, and I'm not sure who it was, but they're pushing the easy ones through first, I think, and then the ones that are going to be a little harder, or a little more dramatic, I guess I should say, because I don't know, I haven't heard any Republicans say that they're not going to vote for Kash Patel. I mean, I heard a couple people say, question Hegseth and whether or not they were going to vote for him. I have not heard that from the Republican side on Kash Patel. So they also know that, this is when, the Democrats will try to filibuster. Ultimately, they'll fail. If you have all the Republican votes, it doesn't matter, but it's still going to draw it out and drag it out if they try to filibuster and all that shit. So they may honestly just be saving him because they know that that's going to be the long drawn out one. Get all the other ones through and then put him out there. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So a lot of interesting times, a lot of interesting things going on in the last 24 hours. let's make a big deal that it was inside and not outside, because that's a major issue. Um, the inauguration, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let's pick on Melania's hat that probably cost more than 98% of the complete wardrobes that most of those people have.
Hmm.
You know, all the important issues of the day seem to be covered. Oh, I did hear one interesting thing, which I'm going to have to follow up on because I don't know to what extent, but it sounds like The View is getting sued again,
Oh, really?
but not by somebody you would think they are getting sued by.
So they're gonna have to issue a legal statement again,
I'm not sure
or are they just
that
gonna they
not
can't walk themselves back on this
I'm
one?
not sure that that's even going to do it, because the person who supposedly has either already uh, put the lawsuit in or is threatening to do it is Senator Fetterman.
Interesting.
And it's
I
Sunny
didn't,
Hostin. It's Sunny Hostin and the producers specifically.
I didn't know they called him out or they said anything about Fetterman.
They had him on the show, and I'm not sure what was said. But apparently he wasn't too happy, and he said he can. From what I hear, he feels like he can make a pretty good case for defamation.
Well, yeah, I mean, I ultimately don't care. That guy's a turd in my book. I know he's like seems somewhat reasonable on some stances. I guess my ultimate opinion on him is I do appreciate that he's reasonable. We'll have a conversation. So I guess maybe I will dial that back. But I just don't think he should be there, and I don't think that he's super aware of most things that are going on. And I think he's mentally unfit. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
In his current physical state, I think he's unfit. So I'm definitely done with that guy. And just I mean, I feel like the disrespect. Didn't he show up to the inauguration or whatever in a hoodie and gym shorts? Like, I know you think you're cool and you think whatever, but like, there's some decorum to be had. I think you should
Sure.
respect that, and if you don't, then yeah, I'm not going to respect you, honestly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he did wear his shorts and hoodie to the inauguration. So
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
eight in 8-degree weather.
yeah. I mean, he looked like my 11-year-old going to school today. Like, yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't in Crocs.
He might be. He's so
He
damn
might.
tall they can never get a full body
That's
shot.
true. I know.
So, all right. So, yeah. So more to come. I think this Friday we'll probably have a lot more to talk about. I don't know if you're here. Are you still doing hockey Friday night? Yeah.
Yeah, man, hockey practice for a while, so but yeah, I'll be around sometime.
Be me. It might just be me Friday. So y'all be stuck with me again. But hey, it's always good to see you, man.
I know. Yeah. Not yeah, it shouldn't be virtual all the time.
Yeah. All right. Hey, y'all have a good rest of your week, and maybe we'll get some more interesting executive orders before Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
I feel you, Jimmy. I feel you.
That's don't start.
All right. We'll see y'all on Friday. Have a good one.
See ya.